You're listening to Scotty and Andrew, and this is Fun with Horror.
Hello to our beautiful, amazing, and just absolutely perfect horror fans, family, and friends. This is Fun with Horror, the weekly horror movie review podcast in which Scotty, my best bud in the world, and we take turns giving each other horror movies to watch, and then we discuss them the following week. Our only two rules are that whoever picks the next movie has to pick one that they have never seen. Rule number 2, we both have to watch it. Last week was me, and I chose a movie from 2009 called Triangle, which is directed by Christopher Smith and stars Melissa George. And please remember to stick around to the end of the episode where we are going to hear Scotty's pick for next week's movie. But without further ado, hi, buddy.
Yeah, hey.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm being stared at with a death gaze by a black cat. Look at your phone.
Oh, I was like, I just got a text. Let me look at this. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was like staring at me throughout your entire intro. And he couldn't hear you, but he's just giving me that Ziggy the horror cat death stare. I love it.
That's awesome. He knew what we were talking about. He's like,
He
hey.
knew. He knew. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, good.
How's your week been?
Good. I don't know. There not a whole lot has happened this week, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I started a movie this morning. I didn't finish
you started one.
I started
What'd you start?
One. Well, I guess it's not even considered horror, maybe. But did you? I don't know. We might have talked about it. Oh goodness. Army of the Dead. The Army of the Dead by Eli Roth. The one, or
you
not?
Never
Eli
saw
Roth.
it? Yeah.
No, not Eli Roth. Zack Snyder.
There
No,
you
I
go.
did. I
There
saw
you
that
go.
one. But I started the
Oh.
prequel, Army of Thieves, I think it's called. Like I said, I'm maybe 20 minutes into it. But, yeah, I don't know what to think so far. It's too early.
I don't know.
Yeah? Did you watch it?
I don't know. No.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, when I was watching Army of the Dead, the last thing running through my head is, man, I really wish I could see a prequel movie about these thieves that has no zombies in it.
Well.
Does it have zombies?
Yeah.
Does it have to do with zombies? Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it had nothing to do with the zombies and just about them.
That's what I thought, too. And then they show them. So I was like, oh, okay. So.
I will now watch it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, I don't know how the rest is. Like I said, I'm like 20, 25 minutes in. And so far, I mean, it's good so far. But like I said, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see, buddy.
What about you, though, man? How's your week been? How you doing?
Well, I mean, I don't have a lot either. I've been reading. I finished Clown in a Cornfield.
Right.
Which I mentioned last episode, and loved it.
Nice.
I thought it ended really well. I still think it'll make a great movie if they ever do that.
Cool.
And then I read Grady Hendrix, who has written a couple of young adult horror books. My Best Friend's Exorcism.
Oh, yes.
And I think The Final Girls Club or something like that. But anyway, he wrote a nonfiction called Paperbacks from Hell.
Oh.
And it's all about the paperback horror novel boom that happened in the 70s and the 80s, which
sweet.
I was around for,
Nice.
as you know.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing countless weird horror novels on the stands and in bookstores and wondering what they were all about because, I stuck to Stephen King and Clive Barker and Dean Koontz, the kind of the popular ones.
Sure.
And but it was a fun read.
Cool. That sounds cool.
Finished it 2 days ago.
Nice.
It was also a quick read. It only took me like 4 days.
Nice.
And then I started to read or reread Firestarter by Stephen King.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Because, yeah, as you know, the new adaptation is coming out soon.
Yes. Yep.
And that's going to be on Peacock.
Right. Yeah. So random.
So, yeah, and it's also going to be in theaters, but I decided that I wanted to reread the book before I watch it because it's been a long time since I read it. I was like in my teens, so.
Nice. I never read that one,
And,
but it looks cool.
It's very cool. Yeah, it starts off pretty much with a bang, so it's good. But yeah, I think we'll talk about that more in the future, maybe.
Right on.
Who knows?
Oh yeah.
The only other thing, is that this Friday,
Yeah.
is Friday the 13th,
That's right.
and everybody out there, Andrew and I did a little thing. We heard that film commentary tracks are all the rage.
Yeah.
So we sat down and we watched the original Friday the 13th, and we did a little commentary track for everybody to listen to if you want to. It's just a bonus episode.
Yep.
And we also figure that most people have seen Friday the 13th enough that even if you're not watching the movie, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll just be an extra podcast episode about Friday the 13th. So that'll be this Friday coming up.
Yes, I'm excited too. I if you do decide to listen to it, I'd love to hear feedback or hear thoughts or anything about the movie itself that that you liked or didn't like or anything just about that original. I think that would be fun. So please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean that's about all I got, buddy. I'm kind of anxious to jump into this movie.
Me too. Should we do it? Triangle?
Yeah, let's do it.
You enter a place you have never been.
I recognize this chord.
Everything you see, you have seen before.
Triangle is our movie of the week. And before we say anything else, I think different than other movies, especially, I'm going to warn people right now before our opinions or anything.
Yeah.
Because even our opinions might contain spoilers.
Yes, yeah.
But we are about to spoil the movie Triangle. So if you have not seen it, then you've been warned.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yes.
There you go. It's as we said last week, it is available on Shudder and Peacock. It's available in lots of places to watch.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, feel free to pause the podcast, go watch it, and come back, and we'll be right here. I'll be right here.
Right here.
Whoa, you just made E.T. very evil.
Sorry.
So, Andrew.
Yes, Scotty.
Let's hear it, buddy. What did you think of the movie Triangle?
That's like a loaded question. No, my initial thought was, in all honesty, this reminds me, this is the first time I watched it, I was like, this reminds me of like a sci-fi channel movie of the week. That was like my initial thought. And then watching it the second time, and then doing a little more research, of course, and stuff, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I did. It's a different movie than what I was expecting. But I enjoyed it. So, yeah. What about you, friend?
Well, I have to say that you picked a really good movie this week, buddy. Hey. Last week when you picked Triangle, and I think I even made you a little bit worried.
Yes, yeah.
Because I had never heard of this movie, which I love. I love the fact that actually your last two movies that you've picked I've never heard of, which is splendid. And yeah, it's almost like you. It's almost like what you said. I had some misgivings, but then the movie ended,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, wow, that was actually an interesting movie.
Yep.
And like you, I started to dive into what it meant and all that, and watching it a second time, I still have some issues to talk about.
I do too.
But yeah, I would watch this movie again right now. Like, it was a very interesting movie.
I think I would too. I'm with you.
Let's watch it, buddy.
Okay. We'll
Be
do
right back. No, kidding. But more importantly, the reason that you picked this movie, let's remind everybody,
Yes.
is because Mother's Day was Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
2 days ago, and your wife,
Yeah.
the soon-to-be mother of your first child, your first biological child.
Correct.
Kylie is also your child, but, you know.
Correct. Yeah.
But anyway, for Mother's Day, you wanted to pick a movie that was about a mother, and boy, did it turn out to be about a mother.
Yeah.
And Cindy wanted to do the 3-minute recap.
Correct. Yes.
So,
However,
but
However,
yes.
she was a
Tell
little
us.
she was a little nervous to do it. Plus, she's at work today, so when we record, but so what we did was we recorded her 3-minute recap, and she did it like what we do. She just practiced it a few times, but didn't have it written down or anything. And like you and I have talked about, and Cindy and I have talked about, is boy, the 3-minute recap that she has to do for this one. Like I don't envy her. This was this was quite an interesting movie to do a 3-minute recap about.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but she did it.
So, well,
yeah.
you recorded it,
Yes. Yep. And I think
so let's hear it.
let's play it.
Hi, Scotty and Andrew. Thank you so much for including me on this special Mother's Day episode. I hope that I do a great job of summarizing this kind of confusing triangle movie. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. I mean, just the moms. The story starts with Jess, a single mom of an autistic son, getting ready at home. So the opening scene's a little choppy. We're not given all of the information up front. It's a little confusing, but we know that she's getting ready. And then we see her leave to go sailing with a group of 5 friends. She shows up without her son, and she says he's at school. So she goes with her friends into the middle of the ocean sailing. There's a crazy ship. There's a crazy storm that knocks over the boat. They're tipped upside down, and one of the friends dies. And they're stranded, and in comes a cruise ship. And they get on the cruise ship and notice some very strange things are happening. No one's to be found. It's totally abandoned, and people are getting hurt. People seem upset at Jess, and Jess does not know why, but they're telling her that she's doing all of these things that she does not remember. And eventually she comes face to face with a shooter on the ship who's killed everyone else. And she ends up fighting with the shooter. Before she knocks him or her off of the ship, the shooter tells her, "You must kill everybody in order for your son to live." And so she knocks the shooter off. As soon as that happens, in comes a sailboat full of all of her friends, fully alive, along with herself. And then we see the scene happening over again where her friends are discovering this weird ship. All the strange things are happening, but we're filling in the gaps. So what we're seeing is Jess is in a time loop. And so after this point, we see several time loops happening where Jess is the one actually hurting her friends. And ultimately, the last time loop ends with her becoming the shooter. And she knocks herself off of the ship. She gets washed up ashore. She ends up walking home. And then we see the gaps that are filled in from the opening scene. We see that she actually is abusing her son. And so she gets so angry at herself. She kills the abusive self. And she gets in this... She stuffs her abusive dead self in the trunk and gets in the car to drive with her son, and they get in this horrible car accident, and her son is like dead at the scene, and she somehow walks away from the scene and gets in the car with the taxi driver, and the taxi driver takes her back to the sailboat where she gets on with her friends, and the loop starts over.
Well, there you go. She did a good job.
I think so, yeah. I think she got
But-
some of the points in there, yeah.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you very much.
Thanks, son.
But that was a difficult movie.
Mm-hmm.
And even I was like lost. But yeah, let's get into this.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause
This one,
this is a heck of a movie to talk about.
yes, it definitely is.
So as she said, the movie turns out to be about a time loop,
Right.
and it's not so, oh man.
I know this one, and here's what I'll say too about this. When I looked for the Mother's Day movie to pick, like I mentioned last week, there was lots of movies, but this was on like a few lists, and all I read on the caption was like, it was like, do you like Groundhog's Day? Then you'll like this. So I go, oh, this will be
boy.
like kind of like that.
Yay. It
Not-
was such a Groundhog's Day.
I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I was like, oh, this is nothing like that. I mean, kind of, but it's a little stretch, so made me laugh. But yes, this is a time travel movie, man. Kind of, sort of, ish.
Not really.
Not really. Yep.
No.
No.
It's because if you look at what the movie is about,
Right.
it's about she's in purgatory.
Right. Yes.
And even the director said it in a making of that she is in purgatory, and she keeps breaking her promise to the driver,
Yep.
who is the ferryman taking her to the other side. And every time she breaks her promise, she goes through this loop
Right.
and has to confront who she really is. And yeah, that's it. That's the movie. It's not that hard at all.
Right. You're right. You're right. Which, no, I do love to. Of course, they like, I'm going into good stuff, but when they talk about the ship, and I wrote his name down, Sisyphus.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Being
Well,
that
what's the ship's name? The Aeolus.
Aeolus. Aeolus. Yes. Thank you.
And Sisyphus is the son of Aeolus in Greek mythology.
Right. And again, his thing where he quote unquote like cheated death and then was essentially in purgatory, punished over and over and over again. Which I was like, oh, there's a little foreshadow there for us.
Yeah, in fact, she says that Sisyphus made a promise to death that he didn't keep,
Right.
which Jess does as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in Sisyphus's case, he's doomed to continually push a rock up a hill, and it keeps rolling backwards, and he's doing this for eternity. And Jess is killing these people over and over again.
Yeah.
And then confronting who she is and the bad person that she was to her son.
Right. That was not. I will say, watching it the first time and hearing this Sisyphus stuff, I was like, well, that's too much of a. That's such a weird bit of dialogue that obviously it has to do with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was not expecting her when she goes home to be abusive. I was like, whoa. Not what I was expecting.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
Yeah, so that shocked me at the end, just finding out. Because I didn't even think about it at the beginning, watching those bits. I just was like, oh, it's typical, got paint on her dress and, normal wear and tear of a parent. But yeah, that totally got me.
Well, I'll be honest. When she showed up at the docks and everything was kind of weird right away, I honestly, because I had seen the poster, or there's multiple like weird advertisements for this movie, and one of them is, in fact, it's the one on Apple, is a hooded figure,
right.
and I had a feeling that all I knew was that they were going to end up on this deserted ship, and somebody was going to be killing them.
Mm-hmm.
And right away, I thought she's the one that's going to be killing everybody.
Wow. Good on you, man.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. I didn't feel like it was that unpredictable.
Right.
But the unpredictable part was that she was doing it because she was in a loop.
Right. Yep.
And that loop is what I sat and tried to figure out when I watched it the second time.
Ah. It's
Because even within the loop, things get confusing.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
So, but first, let's talk about a couple other things.
Yes.
So, the first time you watched it,
Mm-hmm.
you said it felt kind of like a TV movie of the week.
Yes. Yep. And
or a sci-fi channel movie.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that, and again, I hate talking bad about a movie, but especially like, I don't want to criticize anyone's acting, but it felt really stiff. The first, time we meet everyone, to me it just felt like, maybe first week of shooting, so everyone was just a little stiff. And I was like, I don't know. It just reminded me, and some of the lines were just a little, I don't know, kind of corny, I guess, or something. It just didn't, and I went, uh-oh, right away, but.
See, I think it was more the dialogue. I think some
Maybe
of the
that's what
dialogue
it
was
is,
a little
yeah.
corny.
Yeah.
But I thought the acting was good.
Okay, maybe it was the dialogue then. It was just something at the beginning just made me kind of go, I don't know. Just felt weird.
Yeah. I think, I like the dialogue. For me, it was the CG.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
first there was what I started to call the CG goal. Following the car as it's driving.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's a CG seagull. But then I just started calling it a CG goal. And then there was always a CG goal, like following the sailboat around.
Yes, yeah.
And then the storm hits, and I know that they didn't have the biggest budget in the world, but the storm looked a little, let's just say it looked a little 2009.
Yep, nope, that's fair.
Some of the other things that at first I thought were just kind of weird effects I actually ended up liking the second time, because I realized that like there's this Coriolis effect every time you see the ship from the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that was supposed to create a dreamlike effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was cool.
Agreed, yeah. Yep, I'm with you.
But yeah, actually, once you get past the storm, I thought it was. I thought the special effects were pretty good.
Agreed. Yep. I think once they really get on the boat, I'm good. I'm ready to go. Everything kind of flowed. I mean, there's a lot to it, but it flowed a lot smoother for me. Like the second they step on that ship, it's like, okay, we're good.
Yeah. Now, okay. Let's talk about the big reveal.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think? How did you react, and what did you think when you find out that she's an abusive mom?
I don't even know. I felt shocked, to be honest. That was my initial thing, was just, whoa. I mean, because she talks about her son throughout the movie, and, at one point she says, my whole world is standing outside of his school right now, waiting for his mom to pick him up, or something like that. So the whole time I'm really thinking that she wants to get to her son to protect him, to love him, whatever. So when we do see that she's horrible to him, I was shocked. I mean, that was my initial thought, was just, wow, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I felt
me neither, and
horrible.
I'm not sure I liked it.
Agreed. Yeah.
Because the thing that happens is if you watch this movie a second time, and I don't know if this is intentional, but I had no sympathy for her.
Fair. Yes. Yes, I agree. Yep.
Yeah, I was happy she was stuck in a time loop.
Right. Yes.
I was like, good. You deserve it.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about what the movie means and who she is, and the thing is, so real quick, I know Cindy recapped it, but
yeah.
let's recap it again, kind of in a way.
Yeah.
She gets on the sailboat with these people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she doesn't know any of them except for Greg, who invited her,
Right.
who we find out was a regular customer at the coffee shop she works at,
Mm-hmm.
and went in the day before and invited her to this thing.
Right.
So they get hit by the storm. Heather goes missing, so we assume that she's drowned.
Right.
They all end up on the ship. She ends up killing them. We'll get into the loops later, but basically she finally gets pushed off the ship, the Jess that we're focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
She ends up washed up on the shore. She heads back home. She finds out, like Cindy said, she looks through a window and she sees herself hitting her son.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes inside with a hammer and kills her abusive self.
Yes.
So that's where I start to wonder what the purgatory means to her.
Oh.
And whether I should feel sympathetic towards her character throughout the movie, because basically this person that's stuck in purgatory doesn't remember who she is.
Right. Right.
She seems to have pushed the abusive self to the side, and when she sees that she's an abusive person, she wants to kill that other self.
Right. Right.
And then she takes the son, she gets in the car, the seagull, the CG gull hits the car, and when she gets out, they're driving in the sun. The son's like upset at the blood on the windshield,
Mm-hmm.
which causes her to turn to look at her son. She hits a truck. The vehicle goes flying. Now, here's the thing I didn't notice the first time I watched the movie.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and as Cindy so perfectly said, after she killed her abusive self, she shoved her abusive self in a big bag covered with clothing, with like things to pack, and threw it in her trunk.
Right.
And then, okay, so the car goes flying, and yeah, you see that she and her son die in the car accident.
Right.
Now, the cool thing is that when they show her dead body on the ground and somebody is covering her up,
Mm-hmm.
it's the abusive Jess. She's wearing a dress.
Right. Right.
The dress that got the stain on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Jess that is standing off to the side watching all of this happen, who is confronted by the driver, the ferryman, she's wearing the white tank top
Yep. Exactly.
that she wears throughout the whole boat thing.
Mhm.
And then she falls asleep in the taxi, and when she wakes up, she seems to have forgotten everything that happened,
Right. Yep.
which is why she's doomed to repeat it.
Exactly.
Does that all make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. It really does. This was like a quite a trip of a movie, man. And
Oh, yeah.
again, not what I was expecting, but very interesting. And then you got to pinpoint like how many times she's on the ship. I mean, there's just so much like that you can do with this movie.
Well, let's go through the ship.
Yes.
Because I paid so close attention to this the second time.
Nice,
Because
yeah.
there were some things that didn't make sense to me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, because she does seem to, so they get on the ship, they're searching around, and they find the dining room, the
Right.
dining area.
Right.
And there's the part where she's in the dining area, and Victor, played by Liam
Hemsworth.
Hemsworth, thank you. He comes in and he's bleeding, and
Right.
he tries to choke her, and she presses her finger into this hole in the back of his head. That's where the blood's coming from, and then he dies. But now, after she goes through, because then she goes into the theater
Right.
where Greg has been shot, and Sally and I got his name right here.
I do too.
Downey.
Yes.
Downey. Okay. So Sally and Downey are like, "You're crazy. You shot him," and blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, "It wasn't me." And then there's a shooter up in the balcony that shoots Sally and Downey.
Right.
And then you have this whole long chase thing with Jess and the hooded person, and that's when the hooded person corners her. And anyway, she ends up like fighting really well, by the way.
Yes, I thought
She
that
gets
too.
an axe. Like, what were these fighting moves? Like, I was impressed. Like, there's this one moment where like she like crouches down and then just like shoulder shoves
Yeah. Yes.
the hooded person. And I was like, wow, this girl knows what she's doing,
Right.
you know? But yeah, so she hits that, she pushes that person over. Now, this is the important part, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
After she pushes the hooded person over, and you hear this muffled voice trying to tell her that she has to kill everybody. And at this point, if you don't know that that's her,
Right.
then you're kind of, it's a little bit obvious.
It
at that
is. Yeah. And you can hear her voice. I mean, I know it's muffled, but you can still go, "Oh, that sounds like her."
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she hears music, and it's looping, it's skipping, which I thought was a nice touch.
Agreed.
She goes into this little room off of the deck, and she fixes the record player, and she looks into this mirror, which this was such a cool camera shot, because she looks into this mirror at herself,
Right.
and then she hears something outside. She hears what ends up being her and her friends on the bottom of this capsized boat.
Right.
And as she walks out of camera frame, the camera goes into the mirror and out the door of the cabin, but in the world that's in the mirror.
Right. Yep.
And now I paid attention. Not everything in this, after the camera goes through there, things change and things are a little bit different.
Oh.
But they're not a mirror image.
Oh. That's
Like, for
cool.
instance, when she's looking down, you see her looking down, and you find out that the figure that they saw from the bottom, the capsized boat, was her,
Right.
and not some weird stranger. I think Downey is standing behind Sally, and he says, "I see somebody. I see somebody up there." But he's talking from over her right shoulder, and he's over her right shoulder on either side of the boat. So when the capsized boat is coming up on the right side of the boat, he's talking over her right shoulder. But when it's coming up on the left side of the boat in the second, quote unquote loop, he's still talking over her right shoulder. So it's not like a mirror image of the world.
Right. Right.
It's more like an alternative version of the loop.
Cool. Yeah. That makes sense.
So there's a version of the loop where I think she just continues to go through things, and Downey and Sally get shot in the theater and what have you. But then there's this next version where she tries to change things, and like it starts like you see that she's the reason that Victor, like, she accidentally pushed him back against this piping coming out of the wall, which was a gruesome. That was a gnarly scene, right?
Oh man, the blood that shoots out. I was like, oh, that hurt.
And it hurts.
Yeah.
Oh, Jinx.
You owe me a soda.
Aw. You're the only person I know that still says that. Every time I say Jinx with somebody, nobody ever says anything. But every time somebody says Jinx to me,
Yeah.
I say, Jinx, buy me a Coke.
Oh yeah, dude.
You and me, buddy. You and me.
This is why, man. This is why
This
we're
is
best
why.
friends, right here.
So anyway, so she comes into the dining room at the point when Victor is about to come in and strangle the other Jess, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah. Like,
And she stops that from happening. And all of a sudden, everything is different.
right.
She stops Sally and Downey from being shot in the theater, but evil Jess, we'll just call her Hooded or Evil Jess,
Yeah.
pulls them into this room and slices Downey's throat,
Right. Oh my God.
and then stabs Sally in the stomach.
Yep.
And then maybe one of my favorite scenes, Sally ends up on a deck where there's a whole bunch of dead Sallys.
That was my favorite scene in this movie. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's where all the bodies went. Like, they're not disappearing. Or some.
In that alternate, see, that's the thing. So that's the thing.
Right.
In that reality, Downey was pushed off the side of the boat.
Right.
So you're not going to see a bunch of dead Downeys.
Right.
But you're going to see a bunch of dead Sallys. What happened to Greg?
He,
Wait. Oh, no. Downey was in the hotel room.
Oh, right. But then she eventually drags him out because she writes on the mirror and drags him and throws him over the ship.
So then what happened to Greg? Did she throw Greg over the ship as well?
I don't really know if we ever see what happened to Greg. I just think he's in the... I feel like he's left in the theater.
Because this is where I start to think that this movie was a great idea, but there were a few things that the writers didn't really think through.
Fair. Yep.
Because if we see a whole bunch of dead Sallys, why don't we see a whole bunch of dead Victors, for instance?
That's true.
Why don't we see a whole bunch of dead Gregs in the theater?
Mm-hmm. Because they wouldn't have been moved, either of them. They would have died in that same spot.
Right.
Each time, yeah.
But yet we see a whole bunch of notes where she copied her own handwriting.
True.
And obviously at the very end, when she picks up the seagull out of the road, when she drops it off the side, there's a whole bunch of dead seagulls to show that she's been through this loop before.
Right.
So yeah, there's a few things that...
That's true. That is a very good point. I actually didn't catch that or didn't even think about that, but that is... you're right.
Well, these are the things that I think of, damn it.
This is what keeps you up at night.
Yeah, up at night, yes. And that's where, like, I needed to talk through the loop, because then she sees the note and she realizes that once everybody is dead again, like once Sally dies, all of a sudden she hears everybody on the capsized boat coming back to the boat again.
Right.
And that's when she makes the connection. It's when everybody dies is when the boat shows up.
Right.
And she says, I have to kill everybody.
Yep.
And this is where the movie loses me a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think it's just part of the purgatory aspect of it. But we're going to assume that she was a thinking person in this loop. So when she decides to put on the hood and start shooting people, we get to the point where she's fighting herself again.
Right.
Jess in the hood, didn't mean to say that, but hooded Jess is fighting like newly shipwrecked Jess, I guess.
Right. Yep.
And she does the exact same things that I just couldn't help but think. Jess has been through this, so she knows that she's about to push, like, for instance, the shotgun barrel to the side.
Right. Yep.
So why does she continue to go through that? Why does she continue to throw the shotgun at the other Jess as she's climbing over the railing to knock her off?
Yep.
She knows what Jess is going to do.
Yep.
So if she really wants to kill herself, like the early Jess, to try and get everybody off this boat, because it seems like that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to kill everybody so that everybody shows up, so that she can tell them, do not get on this ship.
Yep, exactly. Which I will say, I had that same note, because at one point she's, at the beginning when she first gets on the ship and there's someone shooting at her, she runs and hides in like a kitchen area behind a kitchenette or whatever it's called. I can't think of it. An island, I guess. And she comes in with the gun, and I thought, oh, she can get her now because she knows exactly where she's at since she just did this. But then continues to walk on, and it was the same thing around, what, huh? You know where she's at. She's right there. You know that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, I had that same note. That kind of bugged me.
And I think it's supposed to be kind of like the Sisyphus thing. Like, well, at a certain point, you would think that Sisyphus would realize that he's not going to be able to get the rock up the hill.
Right.
Because it keeps falling backwards. But he keeps doing it because he's doomed to do it, and he's doomed to repeat it.
Right. That's fair.
So, but it's still, it's a little bit different to me.
Yep. I
You
agree.
know, I don't know. Like, she's making the same choices thinking that she's going to... Well, there you go. There's that old saying. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, think you're going to get a different result.
Oh, that's true.
So I don't know.
Man, I know. I'm with you. Yeah. I agree. I had that same note where I was just like, you're right there. You should know everything.
yeah.
You can finish this. And then, I guess I was going to say, and then why didn't she just go and talk to everyone? But I'm like, oh, that was when she realized it and had to kill everyone. Man, this movie.
And she does, I mean, to be fair, she does talk to Downey and Sally when she's hooded Jess.
Right.
She knows that they're going to think that she's the Jess that they've been talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, there's a few holes in it.
Yep. You're right. You're absolutely right.
But then you just give over to the idea that this is purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
She's doomed to repeat everything no matter what.
Agreed. Yep. We can
But
make
you
it
still
work.
have, yeah, you can make it work, but there's still things that don't make sense. But
Agreed. Yes. Yeah. Man, honestly, you bringing up the bodies though, I'm gonna be thinking about that now, just because that did not. I don't know why that didn't click for me, but yeah.
Well, and there may be a good reason it doesn't click because I'm still thinking about it, and I
Yeah.
don't know what happened to Greg's body. Like I
Right.
think he was left in the theater, but I don't know for sure.
Right. That's what I
So-
thought, but yeah. And same with Victor though too. I mean, he died both ways that he dies is in that kitchen
Although I don't think you see him die. You mean the dining room?
or dining room. Yeah, dining room.
I don't really think you see him die in the version where she stops him.
Well,
or
he sits down. He kind of like he's really tired
Yeah,
and like sits
yeah.
down. So yeah, maybe he.
You think he's gonna die?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a ton of little notes,
Yeah.
but that's the main thing.
No, I most of my notes are just like things I enjoyed, just little things I liked.
Me too. I have a little few quibbles, but
Yep.
most of them are things that I thought were cool.
Right. I have one quibble. Maybe
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe it's just me, but there were so many. I felt like, especially at the beginning, close-up shots of her face, looking left, about to look behind a corner. And it just kind of bugged me because it happened
Really?
like 12 times or something where it's just like a close-up of her about to look. And I'm like, okay, I get the shot, but I don't know. For some reason, it just stuck out to me where I was like, another shot of her face looking around a corner. I don't know. Dumb, but it stuck with me.
Yeah, it did not notice me. It did not notice me.
It didn't notice you?
Hi.
Hi.
I did not notice it.
Fair. Oh, funny. Maybe it must have just been me then, man. I don't know why, but it stuck out to me.
Yeah, no, nothing really. I mean, I'm going to say right now, Melissa George, I thought was incredible.
Agreed. I completely agree. She was fantastic in this.
I've seen her in lots of other things where she, but she's always in these like B movies that
Yeah.
don't get a lot of attention. But after watching this, I have a newfound respect for her, and I want to see her in other movies now.
Agreed. I 100% agree. I thought she was fantastic, and I agree. I would love to see her more. She should be in more.
Okay, so the name of the movie is Triangle.
Right.
Now, it's interesting. The boat is called Triangle, or the sailboat.
Yes, right.
The sailboat is called Triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the movie kind of takes place off the Florida coast, where the Bermuda Triangle is,
Yep.
although it's never explicitly mentioned in the movie.
Right.
So that was interesting.
Agreed. Yeah, I had that note too. We were both sitting there like, is this... Right when we first started, I should say, when they go out in the sailing.
Yeah.
We're like, is this the Bermuda Triangle? Is that what this is?
Well, you and I said that too last episode.
Oh, yeah, duh. we did, didn't we?
mentioned. I think I said, is it called Triangle because they're in the Bermuda Triangle?
You're
I don't
right.
know. But I went in while I was watching the movie. I looked up a map and I was like, "Where are they? Where's the Bermuda Triangle?" Up there it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. I thought it was a nice little touch. I didn't notice until the second time that at the beginning of the movie, when she goes out to the backyard, there is a little sailboat upside down in the kiddie pool.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
It's the boat that she gets mad at her son about at the end of the movie.
Right.
Funny. But at the beginning, I wrote it down. I was like, oh, look at that. That's upside
cool.
down.
That's good. I love that. I did not catch that.
Little signs. I like the line where Greg says, she says, I can't stop thinking about my son, and he says, that's because you're a good mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the second time I watched it, I was like, no, she's not.
Yep. You don't know anything, Greg.
No, she's not.
You're not thinking with your head.
Oh, okay. This is something I forgot to pay attention to the second time.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a point where she got on the radio on the ship?
Yes.
There was, and she said, help me, they're all dead?
No, it's Sally says it first. She gets there and says it and then sees Jess coming and throws it down or drops it and runs, and then Jess goes and picks it up and finishes the dialogue that was said at the beginning. So yeah, that does happen. Mm-hmm.
I wrote it down when I heard it when Greg is talking on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down help me, they're all dead, but then I totally forgot to pay attention during the movie.
Yep. Yeah.
I just got into the movie, I guess.
Yep. No, yeah, it does happen. I have note of that because I was like, oh, good little. I'm glad they brought it back, I should say.
I know this was supposed to be kind of a dreamlike movie at times, but one little quibble I had is when Downey when they're on the bottom of the ship on the boat and Downey says, I can see someone. You could not see anybody.
I thought the same thing. Yep. I was like, where?
I rewound it like 2 times, and I'm like, I do not see a single person. And then it has the shot where you can see the figure.
Right.
But I'm like, when he says it, you can't see anybody. I'm like, that was kind of silly.
I thought the same thing, man. I was like, where? Well, I was looking everywhere at the top.
Okay, so The Shining. The Shining was a huge inspiration to this movie.
Oh, right on.
The room where the mirror had the bloody writing on it was room 237.
Oh, I did not catch that, dude.
That was the first thing I caught. And then in the making of Little Feature, they mentioned how, they purposely made the hallways look maze-like.
Right.
As an homage to The Shining.
That's so
and
cool.
She's got an axe at the end, which is kind of a nod.
Yep.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool. I'm glad that they didn't go with the shining carpet for once.
Everyone uses that, dude.
Everybody. Another cool thing, when they go to the dining room, Victor, I think, looks at his watch, and he's like, he's like, it's only 11 something, and then he looks at the clock, and the clock has a different time, but it's the same time that's on Jess's watch.
Right. I like that.
There's no meaning that I know of to the time. It was like 8:17 or 8:18.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's when she died.
Oh, that's good. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Not that. I mean, yeah, that's clever. Oh,
yeah,
good,
it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
I love the theater. I thought the theater was a very cool set.
Yep.
And there's a stage backdrop, and the backdrop is a big painting of a sailboat.
Yep.
Or it's kind of an older clipper ship kind of sailboat stuck in a storm.
Yep.
Thought that was kind of cool.
I have one question for you that you might be able to answer.
Please. I love your questions.
Thanks, buddy. No, when they first get on the ship, the very first time, there's all that food, and I don't know, someone eats something. Downey, I think, eats something. But then I think it's the next loop, all the food is rotten.
Oh, I don't think it's even the next loop. I think it's when Jess gets into the dining room.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
I think it's right before Victor comes in and chokes her.
Okay, yes, I think you're right. Yes.
But yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I didn't know if there was meaning behind that or something, but I was like, that's interesting. It was fine a second ago.
Okay, well, then let me bring up the biggest question I have.
Okay, yeah.
So if this is Jess's purgatory, who are all these people? I mean, she knows Greg,
Right.
but how does she, like, this is her purgatory. So who are Sally and Downey and Heather and Victor?
That's true.
Like, it would have been nice if there was like something that just showed them like randomly during her living hours or something.
Yeah. Yep.
So that you don't notice it at the beginning of the movie, but at the end of the movie you see them. Like maybe they show up at her death or something.
Yeah.
Well, crap, now I want to go watch the car crash scene again.
Right.
Because maybe they're all there and I just didn't notice. That would be crazy.
Oh, that would be crazy. Because they do show a lot of people like walking towards the accident.
Yeah. And I'm going to jump to that real quick.
Yeah.
Here's the cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that the symbol on the... Because there's the marching band.
Yep.
The symbol on the bass drum is the same symbol that's on the ship.
No, I didn't.
It's an A and an O.
Oh,
Aeolus.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go.
Well done, man. That's awesome.
Well, to be fair, these were some of these things were mentioned in the making of that I linked you to.
Yes.
That you did not watch.
I did not. I'm sorry. I know.
Let's see what else we got. Yep, I said that. Oh, I love the driver.
I did too.
Such a small part. The actor's name is Brian Probetz,
Nice.
and just his whole demeanor when he walks up and he's like, "Hey, are you okay?"
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. There was something about him that I really liked, and I'm like, I was just thinking he should be in more things.
Agreed. No, and yeah, I did too. He like 2 or 3 lines, something like that, but they were impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think he was great. He was a perfect choice for that.
And then he says, "You will come back, won't you?" And she says, "Yes. Yes, I promise." And then she goes off to the boat, and I'm like,
You liar.
Now, see, I think here's a little quibble.
Yeah.
I think they should have ended it there after she gets out of the cab. I know they wanted to show the scene where she's walking with Victor, and
Right.
he says, he asks her about her son.
Right.
But we didn't really need to see that, and I thought it would have been cool if they had ended just right after she says, "Yes, yes, I promise."
I
And we
like
see
that.
her
Yeah.
walking down the pier.
That would have been really good. I agree. And you can even see like, Victor walking behind her or something, but that's
Yeah.
it. And then cut.
Or coming up to her.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And the other little quibble I have is this is just something, a teeny, that bothers me. The moment she so back in the ship, when they're in the theater, Sally and Downey are just chilling in the seats in the theater, and Greg is up in the balcony, and the hooded figure comes up with the gun, with the rifle. And it's Jess, but they're having a conversation. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, Downey and Sally didn't hear this going on.
That's true, dude. They're right there. Like maybe 10 feet from them.
Yeah. They would have heard
Yeah.
people talking.
Yes.
And they would have been like, "Who's that?" And then Greg falls, and it's like seconds before you hear Sally like, "Why did you do this?" Like, he had the tiniest bit of time to go, "It's Jess."
Right.
And then from that, Sally's just like, "It was you." And he obviously fell from the balcony. I don't know that.
I agree.
Again, a little bit of dramatic pause there would have done wonders.
Agreed. Yep. I agree.
And the last thing I have, buddy, I think I've covered all my notes.
Yeah.
The last thing I have is just a cool thing that I also looked up. Aeolus.
Oh yeah.
The Greek god. Aeolus was the divine keeper of the winds and king of the mythical floating island of Aeolia. He kept the violent storm winds locked safely away inside the cavernous interior of his isle, releasing them only at the command of greatest gods to wreak devastation upon the world. So he was a storm god.
Nice. Which makes
Makes
sense.
Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, I mean, interesting. I like that.
I looked up seagulls, and there's many things. There's a few things, but so you could easily pull from everything I read that says that seagulls like are guides.
Oh.
They guide people to safety. But and then she kills it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, yeah, some people say that that's where the loop began, but I think it's just she died.
Agreed. Yeah.
And the fact that she didn't keep her promise to the ferryman, to the driver, is why she ends up in that loop.
Yep. Nope. I agree 100%. This was fun. I will say I have one and it's totally unintentional, I think, on their part. But
Tell me.
You know how much I love Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yes.
I felt like her killer outfit was very much Friday the 13th Part 2. It really reminded me of it, so I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But probably
Yeah,
unintentional.
Yeah, and it didn't bother me. I mean,
No, I liked it. I thought I was like, oh, cool. I'm on board.
Good.
So
I'm glad
I
you
liked
liked
it.
that.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Any more notes?
Honestly, I think we covered it, man. For that movie, I'm about
to. I'm about to ask you 3 questions, then, buddy.
perfect.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
Okay, so here we go. Question number 1.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite kill or death?
I think my favorite kill was Jess killing Jess. Which I think just because it was, again, like we kind of talked about it, her kind of killing that abuse, the evil version of herself. But it was pretty, you don't really see it, but I mean, she takes a hammer to her, so you know what happens, and it's right there. So
It is pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool how she just walks into the room really quick. and just-
Exactly. Yeah.
like you always hear like some speech from somebody about to kill somebody else,
Yep.
and there's no speech or anything. She just walks in and slams her with the hammer.
Yep. So I think that's mine. Now what's yours? I thought it would be that one, to be honest.
Sally. No, it wasn't. It was Sally dying amongst all the other dead Sallys.
Totally
on the deck.
good. Yep.
And speaking of, did you know that the deck of that ship was a set that was built outside against the water so that it looked like an actual ship in the ocean?
Oh, cool. I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. There you go.
Cool.
Question number 2. Well, was this movie scary?
I would say for me, no. It didn't. It's one that won't keep me up at night. It's one that will make me think, and I will continue to think about this movie, but I was not afraid when watching this or fearful. Yeah.
Me neither. And I'm going to go so far as to say this is one of those that skirts the line between horror and thriller.
Agreed. I would agree with you.
They call it a horror movie, and even the director called it a horror movie, but so I'm glad we did it. But yeah, it blurs the line between a thriller and a horror movie. So
Yep, you're absolutely right.
I don't think it's that scary.
Nope. Agreed.
And number 3, Andrew, did you have fun with horror?
I really did. I really did have fun with this movie. Like we said, it's there's a lot to it. It was fun to unpack with you. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And you?
I did too.
Nice.
I had fun with horror. You picked a good movie.
Thanks.
I think it's kind of criminal that more people haven't heard of this movie.
Agreed. Yes.
And I kind of hope that, we do a small part into introducing some people to this very, very interesting movie.
Yep.
So yeah, I hope people watch it before they listen to our podcast.
I do too. Yep.
But yeah, fun with horror. 2 funs.
2 funs.
We give this movie 2 funs.
2 funs up.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
All right. Done.
Aeolus. Aeolus. Aeolus was the Greek god of the winds and the father of Sisyphus, a man condemned by the gods to the task of pushing a rock up a mountain only to see it roll back down again.
That's a pretty shitty punishment. What do you do?
He cheated death. Or no, he made a promise to death that he didn't keep. I studied it, but I can't remember. Can we just keep on moving, please?
Scotty, as you know, every other week I get very excited because...
Do you get goosebumps?
I
Goosebumps?
Is Goosebumps our movie?
No, you've seen it.
I know.
Have you seen Goosebumps 2?
No, actually, I've not.
Okay, it's not that either.
Okay. Is it one of the straight-to-video movies? No.
Is Jack Black in it?
I don't know. I don't know if he's...
I don't know.
I don't know. But I am excited, man. I'm always excited to find out your movie. I never know what we're gonna get. Obviously, that's the point of this.
Andrew, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What letter comes after W?
X.
As you know, we've been kind of waiting for it to go on sale so that I could actually purchase it instead of renting it. Although, I gave you leeway. I gave you full permission to pick it if you wanted to.
Right.
But I checked Monday night, and sure enough, it's available for purchase now. So I'm gonna buy it, add it to my collection, and that is this week's movie, X.
Nice, dude. Man, we've been waiting to see this one.
We've been waiting.
Woohoo!
Directed by Ty West, starring Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, Brittany Snow. I tried not to learn too much about this movie.
Me too. I know very little about this. Yay,
I'm excited,
dude.
though.
Me too. This is going to be awesome. Oh, I'm so excited. Yes. Good pick, man.
There you go, buddy.
Thank you,
but
buddy.
Everybody out there, if you haven't seen X, unfortunately, this is another one that's just available for actually. Yeah, I think it's available for rental in some places, but mostly it's only available for purchase. So
okay.
We understand if you guys can't listen to the next episode just yet.
Right. Yeah.
But hopefully, as you all see this movie, even if it's a few weeks from now, you'll go back and you'll listen.
For sure.
I didn't even think about it, but we get a bunch of like one-offs, like little notifications that this old episode has been listened to.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if it's people that finally got around to watching a movie that we covered and we're just waiting to listen until they saw the movie.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know of, like, my brother has done that a few times where he just couldn't get a copy of something.
Nice.
So, yeah, and then he'll
like
go back. So, yeah, that's awesome, dude. Oh, I'm so excited, man.
Yeah, me too. Quick shout-out because, guys, go listen to the Michael freaking Myers podcast.
Yes.
Because our friend Ken does the podcast by himself. He's got as I've said before, he's got a soothing voice. It's really nice, and he only takes up about 25-30 minutes of your time, and he's really good at talking about the movies that he wants to talk about, and he always gives us a shout out. He's like the nicest guy ever.
He really is. He's so awesome. So, and it's funny because we'll listen every time it's on, every 2 weeks, and usually we'll text each other and be like, what a great episode. And he said our name. Like, what? That's so sweet. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just nice. So, yeah, give him a listen. I think he's got 4 episodes. Is it 4 or 5?
I think it's just 4 right now. Yep.
Okay. But yeah, give him a listen. Give him a follow. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever.
Yes, definitely. Yep.
And also, so X is our next movie, but that's going to be episode 43. Don't forget, everybody, episode 42 is this Friday, and it's our very special Friday the 13th commentary.
Nice.
So grab the original Friday the 13th, unrated, if you can. And yeah, watch the movie and listen to our commentary while you watch.
Dude.
I don't know if we're any good at it, but we have fun.
I hope people do listen, man. I think it was so much fun making. Like, it was honestly, it was just fun. You and I watching a movie together again, man. It was cool.
Yeah.
But
you know, I know 2 people who will be listening.
Yep, me too.
You and me.
That's right.
If we get 2 downloads, you know that it's us 2.
Exactly.
Yay.
Or someone that misses this episode and goes and is like, oh, cool, they're doing the first Friday the 13th. They go, this is a weird episode. Cool.
Anyway, so that's about it.
Awesome, man. This was fun, as always.
Episode 41.
Episode 41. Ah, good times.
Yeah. We're on our way to 50, buddy.
Oh, man. Well,
The big 5-0, the big nickel,
big nickel. 52, and it's a
the
year.
big double quarter.
But we're 52. We're at a year, man. A year doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
Wait, what?
Or almost a year, I guess. 52 weeks in a year. We do it every week.
Oh,
but
that's true. That makes a lot of sense that I didn't even think about.
Oh.
It would be, but for us, it would be 50. I think 54.
Yeah, you're right, because of our extra episodes.
Because we did two. Yeah, we did 2 bonus.
Yeah.
Well, and we may do more. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. Well, this was fun, Andrew.
This was fun. With horror.
You have a good week, my friend.
You too. Have fun. Be safe. I love you, buddy.
I love you too. Happy Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
And I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Bye, buddy.
Love you, buddy.
Love you
Bye-bye.
too. Bye.
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 You will come back, won't you?
Yes, I promise.